So I'm here with the muscle shark, Sean Sherk, the former lightweight UFC champion. Sean, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks.
Sir, thank you very much for taking some time to sit down or stand up and have a chat with us. So first of all, I want to ask you a question I know that everyone's interested in. Who are you fighting next?
Nothing scheduled yet. I may be looking at a summer return. So, my schedule's been really busy, and I know the UFC, they implemented all the WEC guys too, so, they're putting some guys on hold and stuff too. So I'm just kind of doing my thing and waiting my turn, I guess.
See, now with the WEC guys being in, and the lightweight division being really stacked right now, does that put a lot of pressure on the fighters in the division, or do you feel like you have to perform more or, risk?
I mean, there's always pressure. I mean, we're fighting in the UFC. That's the Super Bowl of mixed martial arts. Does it put pressure on me because WEC guys are coming over? No, not at all. I've been part of the UFC since UFC 30. The WEC guys are the ones that are going to feel the pressure because they're taking a huge step up in competition, and if they don't perform, they're going to get cut. The UFC's got 70-something lightweights under contract right now. They have to get rid of fighters. So if you're not performing, you're going to get cut, and they're going to cut the new guys coming in. They're not going to mess with the top tier guys.
The vets are safe, but the new guys got to prove themselves yet.
Right.
So who would you like to fight? Is there any WEC guy that you're seeing going, that guy's a guy that I'd like to get in the cage?
I want to fight contenders. I'm not interested in fighting a WEC guy because they're not contenders right now. I just want to fight the best guys, the guys that have the big win streaks, the guys that are the top 10 guys in the world. It's been 5 years since I fought a guy that hasn't been ranked top 10 in the world. So I want to just keep that momentum going and keep fighting the best of the best.
So for best of the best right now, Frank Yeager and Gray Maynard. Now, you're a powerful grappler. You got some good striking. You're a lot like Gray Maynard, I'd say. Do you think that you would stack up well with Frank Yeager? Do you think you could beat the champ?
I already fought Frankie, and I lost. I wasn't able to. His footwork's really good, really elusive. I wasn't able to get a hold of him and use my strength and my power a whole lot. He outpointed me, and I lost a decision. So that's what he's good at. He's good at being elusive, and he's good at hitting you and staying out of range and things of that nature. I believe that's how he beat Gray as well. Or he didn't beat Gray, he had a draw with Gray, but I believe that's how he ended up with the draw with Gray, is by doing the same thing. So I would love another shot. Is it going to happen tomorrow? No, I got to beat a couple more contenders first. So worry about the task at hand first and see what happens.
What do you think that you need to do to really say, I'm still ready to fight at the top level? Who do you want to be? Like, what's your path? Is it Guillard? Is it
As of right now, I think there's got to be about, I would say, probably 4 or 5 contenders in the UFC. There's a lot of guys that are on some big win streaks, and those are the guys I want to continue to fight. The guys that if I beat them, it's gonna help propel my path to fighting for the belt.
So you're a wrestler, or you're a baseline wrestler. You've obviously mixed up your game a lot. Now, right now, wrestling is hot in the UFC. A lot of wrestlers are winning. Do you think it's the best style for a fighter right now, the best base style to have?
I think wrestling's the best base. Wrestling's the hardest thing to learn. You have to. I grew up on the mat since I was 7 years old, and it took me my entire life to become the wrestler that I am right now. It's not something you're going to learn overnight. There's always exceptions to the rule, like George St. Pierre. He never competed in wrestling, but he's one of the best mixed martial arts wrestlers out there, even though he never competed in the sport. He's an exception, a very rare exception. Otherwise, for everybody else out there, you can't learn how to wrestle overnight. You got to start at a very young age. Wrestlers have the best base because balance, work ethic, strength, and they're able to pick up just based on athletic ability, they're able to pick up the jiu-jitsu and pick up the boxing at a much more accelerated pace.
Is there one thing that you want to add to your style for us to see for your next fight?
I'm three-dimensional. I've been training since 1994. I've been fighting since 1999. I don't have any weaknesses in my game. My game is real solid. I'm a well versatile.
One of the best.
I'd like to catch a guy in a submission or two. That'd be kind of fun.
Just to show people how good you are on the ground, because that's an underestimated aspect of your game.
Well, for a long part of my career, it was a lot of ground and pound, a lot of wrestling, and lately my career has been a lot of stand-up, a lot of boxing, trying to show that versatility. I'd like to go back to the ground and show some submissions too, and show that three-dimensional phase that I'm going through.
This is a bit of a sidetrack question, but you fought in Japan, and right now the Japanese MMA scene is going through a lot of changes with top contenders from Sengoku and Dream coming over and K1 going through some issues as well. Do you think that hurts MMA as a sport overall, or do you think the UFC can fill that gap on a worldwide basis?
I think Japan's always had kind of some issues, as far as I know, with Pride disappearing as fast as it did, and K1's always been kind of hit and miss, and I mean, I've always been under the impression that they've kind of had some issues over there. As far as filling a void, the American fans, do they really follow Japanese mixed martial arts? I don't. I think most of the American fans are engulfed in the UFC.
But to me, what I meant by that was more, do you think that the American fighters are going to be able to make global headway and to say, we are the best fighters, or not just the American fighters, but the UFC as a whole, say, we're the global brand. We are the brand that you have to watch. Yeah. Whether you're in Japan, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in Africa, this is the brand.
Well, the global brand is the UFC. It has been for a long time. Maybe it's not the brand in Japan. I don't know how big the UFC is in Japan. Maybe they follow Dream or whatever, K1. Maybe they follow that more than they do with the UFC. But you bring a UFC anywhere in the world, they're going to sell out. The UFC's in Abu Dhabi, selling out. The UFC's in Germany, selling out. The UFC's in Ireland, selling out. The UFC's in the UK, selling out. They're in Canada, selling 50-something thousand seats. I mean, the UFC can go anywhere in the world, and they're going to sell every single ticket they have. That's a huge statement. No other sport can do that. You think of a football game, went to Abu Dhabi, how many people would watch football? How many people would watch a baseball game in Germany? I mean, it's not universal. UFC, mixed martial arts, is a universal sport. They can go anywhere in the world. They can sell as many seats as they have.
Well, absolutely, and you're probably right that a football game wouldn't do too well in Japan. Now, for your opinion, for fighters that might not be rated well right now, people that aren't being looked at, who's the best? Who's the up-and-comer that we should look at as the next Sean Sherk in the next year or year and a half?
I don't watch a whole lot of mixed martial arts, to be honest with you. I don't know a lot about the younger up-and-coming guys. One of the guys I've seen for a while now would be John Jones. He's definitely an up-and-comer. I've been saying for a while he's going to be the next George St. Pierre, so I think he's definitely going to be someone that guys need to keep their eyes on. I know he's fighting for a title sometime soon, too, which
about 4 weeks.
Would be interesting, yeah.
So one last, it's a bit of a personal question, but for the win over NM Dovin, which you did win, that was obviously the crowd reacted in a very mixed way. Looking from your point of view inside the fight, obviously you think you won the fight. What do you think that you saw that we didn't see?
I think the big thing was I did dominate that first round. As far as the second round goes, I controlled the majority of that round minus the last minute. But I think a lot of people, what they weren't understanding was a lot of the punches that he was throwing weren't connecting cleanly on the feet. I didn't even have so much as a black eye after that fight. And I bruise easy. Look at every one of my fights. I'm black and blue. I didn't even have a black eye. So the punches weren't being landed as cleanly as people thought. Maybe that's what the judges saw. But on a side note, I thought I won the first round cleanly. The second round was close. I thought I pulled that out. Third round I did lose. So, it is what it is. I felt like I won the fight. I'm sure Evan felt like he won the fight, and all the fans are kind of have a mixed reaction with it.
Fair enough. Well, that's true. But obviously you're looking forward to win your next fight, and Evan Dunham's struggled since then. So, I think that you proved that. You had the tool set that day and legitimately deserved the win. So,
yeah. He struggled against Melvin, who's a really dangerous fighter. Melvin's got punching power and speed and explosion, and he can hit you when, you know, he's so fast. He can hit you with a punch before you even see it, which is a very dangerous punch. So I didn't see that fight, but I'm assuming that's what happened. Being that Dunham got knocked out in that fight, I'm assuming he was probably trying to box with him and got hit with something he didn't see. You know.
Now, you've said that you think that you're ready for the UFC Hall of Fame. Now, that's something that traditionally an athlete would worry about more towards the end of their career. Have you done everything you want to do in mixed martial arts, or do you think that there's still a couple more milestones that you really want to set?
I think there's still things I want to do. As far as that question, I think somebody asked me that question. It wasn't something that I specifically came out and said. Somebody asked me a question, do you think you're going to be in the Hall of Fame or something like that? And, you know, I think I've done enough to be in the Hall of Fame. You know, it's not time yet. I'm not retiring. I still want to fight. There's still things I want to accomplish. So that time will come when it's time.
Well, absolutely. We're looking forward to seeing what you do next. So, Mr. Sherk, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us, and have a great day.
Thanks.